Everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to talk about microwaves. I've been using a microwave for years, and one of the questions I get all the time is, can I use a microwave? How much power do I need? How practical is it? What do I need to buy? And so because I've been doing it, I have a pretty good idea of just what you need. And so today's video is to explain all of that to you. It gets complicated, and I'm sorry, it will get complicated. So right here at the beginning, let me give you all the information you need in a summary. And then if you want to know the details then we'll go on and give you all the details and the ins and the outs if you're still interested. I've got the microwave, and what you can barely see here is the inverter. Here I have a 2,000 watt inverter. This is a kilowatt. I'm going to show you how much power the kilowatt will show us. I guess I'll show you the kilowatt. See, that's what a kilowatt is. And it will tell us exactly how many amps and watts the microwave draws off of 110 volt. We'll use that later. So here's my 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter. This one is a Xantrex Pro Watt 2000. And underneath, behind here, are my batteries. I have 4 golf carts. So this is the microwave. It's a Westinghouse, as you can see. It's the smallest, cheapest microwave I could find. It's 650 watt of cooking power. We'll talk a little bit about cooking power versus draw-in power. They're not the same thing. I don't want to use a 2,000 watt inverter all the time, so I have both the 2,000 watt and this is a Cobra 400, and I don't think you're going to be able to buy it anymore. So your next question is, how much is this going to cost me? Well, you can buy a 750 watt digital microwave at Walmart for $50 right now. I mean, and they're nice. It's a little nicer than this, the model up. This is $360. The batteries, this was $1,000 worth of batteries, and I think it's more now. They've gone up. Why do I have 2 inverters? Why don't I just use one? Well, because inverters do something called a standby power. So when an inverter is turned on and connected to the battery, wired to the battery, and they're both on now, they're always drawing power. If I turn it off, the power stops. You see the green light's off. It's not drawing anything. It's so little you couldn't even measure it. It's not even consideration. So, but this inverter on standby, turn it back on, is drawing about 1/4 of an amp an hour, about 0.25 amps. I don't want to throw away 6 amps a day. It's not all that much, but I still don't want to waste that power. So I turn it off. I just always keep it off. Now, on the Pro Watt 2000, that pure sine, a big pure sine, is drawing a lot more power. It's doing a lot more work. You can't afford to waste that. So you want to turn this off right away. And so that's why I have 2. I have the really big one that I use for the important stuff. And then I have the little inexpensive one that I use for everything else. And then I keep them both turned off. It says the battery is at 14.3. The flickering there is because of the camera. And now I'm going to turn the microwave on, give it about 2 minutes. And you can see it started at 14.3 and now it's jumped down to 13. 12.7. It's going to steadily drop. I have a bunch of power coming in. It's middle of the day, so I have power coming in. Normally, this would have dropped from 14.3 immediately to about 12.1. Now we're down to 12.3. The fact that power is still coming in, and quite a bit of power, is bolstering it more than it would normally. So you can see it's dropped more than 2 full volts. It dropped from 14.3 down to 12.2. And if it were not during the middle of the day with good sun coming in, it would have dropped down to 11.9, 11.7. Voltages are very, very misleading. And at any given moment, when you look at the voltmeter on your battery, unless you have a pretty elaborate setup to accurately read your voltage, it's wrong. At any given moment, the voltage is wrong. The voltage right now is not 12.2. And when I turn this off, let me turn it off now. 12.2, 12.4, 12.7, 12.8. So it immediately jumped. You can see that the voltmeter immediately jumped right back up. Then after about 5 minutes, it'll go back up into the 14s. Okay, so now let's figure out exactly what the draw is on this microwave. As you can see, it's at 13.9. I've got some clouds going in and out, so it may not get back all the way up to 14. And here is the kilowatt hour meter. It's 114 volts. It's measuring the volts, and so it's got clean 114 volts. Let me hit that, and that is showing amps. That's how many amps are going through it. 8.14 amps at 110 volt, 115 volt. And watts is 894, 868. You see it bouncing around. Hi everyone, just a quick interruption of today's video. A word from our sponsor. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have sponsors. I'm the sponsor. So this is a word from me. I have classes now for people who are brand new to the road and who really need everything in one place. I'm offering classes on Skillshare.com and Udemy.com. They're 5.5 hours of content over 19 courses, and I try to answer every question that every new person has asked me over the years. So if you need one place to find everything you need, you just go to Skillshare.com or Udemy.com, and they're there waiting for you. On Skillshare.com, the model there is you buy a year and all the courses that are on Skillshare are available to you in an unlimited quantity. On Udemy, the platform is you buy a course at a time. If you want all the information you need in one place, it's there to the very best of my abilities. It's there and waiting for you. Go take a look. There'll be a link down in the description below, or just go to Skillshare or Udemy.com and type in Bob Wells Cheap RV Living, and you'll find the course. Now back to the video. So you might be thinking, well, so what? The voltages aren't accurate and they read wrong. It has a very big impact on your microwave. Normally, if you try to run this at night, and I usually run it more at night than during the day because at night is when I'm cooking a dinner. So then the battery is not full and there's not big sun coming in. So the voltage will be reading at maybe 13.1 early in the evening, or maybe it'll be down to 12.8, 12.9. As soon as I turn it on, it will drop into the 11s. It'll drop into 11.9, 11.8. Here's why this is very important. Nearly all inverters have a turn-off point. So if the inverter is set to stop, and it will beep and just turn off, and it won't work again until you reset it. Usually that's at 11.6, 11.7, 11.8. And so what will happen is it'll drop so low, it'll drop into the 11s, and the inverter will shut off, and then you can't use your microwave. You have to have a big enough battery bank to be able to, so that it doesn't drop so deep. The reason I don't have a problem is because I have 4 golf cart batteries. I have such a deep battery bank that when it drops, there's so much in the well, in the battery bank, that it won't drop below 11.8 usually. I don't think I've ever seen it drop below 11.7. But if you have 2 golf cart batteries, it won't work. And that's the point. If you have golf carts, you need 4 golf cart batteries to be able to run a microwave. Now, if you have 12 volts, then it's not nearly as clear cut. It's my understanding that if you have 2 high-quality 12-volt deep cycle batteries, you can run a microwave off of them. Now, the next question you have is, what about lithium? And my answer is, I honestly just don't know. I've not owned lithium batteries. I haven't had the experience with lithium batteries. I can't give you an answer that I'm certain is accurate. How much solar do I need? Well, the amount of solar you need is that you need to replenish the next day easily what you took out of the battery today for the microwave, and then to run everything else. And everything else, that varies by every person. For the most part, I tell most people they can get by with 200 watts. 300 is better. 400 is ideal. If you're in a van, if you're in an RV, you need more. There's a lot more phantom draws that you don't know about. So the next question is, how much does it take out per draw? Well, it depends on the run. That's the great thing about microwaves, is they are very high power draws, but they don't really run very long. So according to the kilowatt, it's drawing about 860 watts an hour. And you have to divide that by 12 to get the amps that's coming out of your battery. If we divide 860 divided by 12 equals 71.6. 72 amps an hour is a very huge draw, but it's actually much more than that. The inverter has a certain amount of waste in the conversion process. You figure a absolute minimum of 10%, and so I would guess with a pure sine that it's even higher. It's doing more. It's making purer power. So let's call it 20%. Now we're at 87 amps an hour. We're going to round up and call it 90. We're just all pulling numbers out of the air. I like easy numbers. I believe that's probably pretty close to accurate, but, and that's not all. There's always more. There is something called the Pukert effect. The Pukert effect basically says that a very high amp draw draws a disproportionate amount of amps. I know that's really, really oversimplified. Anybody that knows anything about electricity would just say, oh boy, that was way oversimplified. There's the math in figuring out the Pukert effect is enormous and hard, and I don't know anything about it. I'm going to pull a number out of the air. So we were at about 90 amps an hour, being generous, drawing more out than we thought. So really between 85 and 90 amps an hour, and let's say another 20% for the Pukert effect. Now we're at 104. So we're drawing about 100 amps an hour. That's a lot. I got 4 golf carts. That's a big, big battery bank. So they are about 110 amps an hour each. And so that gives me about 440 amp hours total. I can only take half. So I only have 220 amp hours of batteries capable and here for me. I take out 100 for this microwave for an hour, and half my bank's shot. But the key thing is, you're never going to use this for a full hour. I don't believe I've ever done more than a total of a 6-minute cook, and that's usually in 3 minutes, and then let them rest, and then 3 minutes. If it's 100 amps an hour divided by 60, that's how many amps per minute. So we got 100 amps an hour divided by 60 equals 1.6. I'm going to go all out and call it 2 amps a minute. And that's very generous. It's not really that high. If I cook something for 5 minutes in the microwave, then it's drawn only 10 amps out of my battery bank. So that's not bad. So I brought the microwave outside to let you see the plate. Every electrical device ever made by U.S. standards has to have a plate on it somewhere that gives the exact specifications of electronics, so that you're not guessing. And there's the one on this one. I was wrong. The output power is 600 watts. That means it's actually a 600 watt cooking power, not 650. And the power input is 950, which is kind of exactly what we were saying. Again, it's 950 watts that it's drawing from the wall outlet, and then divide that by, we want to divide by 12 because we're coming from a 12-volt battery. And the cooking power is 600 watts. They're not the same thing. So there you have it. That's what you need to run a microwave in your van or RV. You need a minimum of 200 watts of solar, and you need a minimum of 4 golf carts, 2 or 3 12-volt batteries, or 1 or 2 lithiums, and I'm not 100% sure of the lithiums. Now, I'm not going to get into how to install the inverter because that's a big conversation. I will just tell you that it needs enormous power. So you need a big cable going from your batteries to the inverter. I use 2-aught. That's not 2. 2 is small compared to 2-aught. 2-aught is roughly the size of the end of your thumb. Do not use too small a cable on an inverter. That's a sure disaster. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you on the next video.